If you're looking for more horror outside of the mainstream, look no further than Unsung Horrors, a podcast about underseen horror movies. I'm Lance.
And I'm Erica. Every other week, we'll cover a horror movie with fewer than 1,000 views on Letterboxd. We'll even give you double feature recommendations to pair with the movies we discuss.
From gothic to shot on video, from slashers to comedies, from giallo to J-horror, we'll cover all the subgenres. So join us as we unearth these hidden gems of horror.
Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, all at Unsung Horrors, available wherever you listen to podcasts. And part of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
Hello, my name is Kevin Tudor, and I'm one of the three hosts of Almost Major, a film podcast dissecting many major indie studios and the films they release. Every week, myself, Charlie Nash, and Bryden Doyle discuss overlooked, forgotten, or bona fide classic indie films via studio-specific miniseries. We've previously covered numerous films from Artisan Entertainment, Lionsgate Films, and New Line Cinema. Titles including The Blair Witch Project, American Psycho, Dogville, But I'm a Cheerleader, Saw, Requiem for a Dream, and Ringmaster, you know, the Jerry Springer film. Anyways, we have a fun time every week and we hope you will join us. Subscribe to Almost Major wherever you get your podcasts. Now proudly a part of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
Weirding Way Media.
Right, Mr. Walters?
You see that guy over there? No, he's an actor. The guy on the phone? He's a prize fighter. Me? I'm a cab driver. I'm the only cab driver in this place.
Hello, and welcome to Night Mr. Walters, a taxi podcast. I'm your co-host, HP. With me, as always, is my co-host, Father Malone. Father Malone, how are you tonight?
Good. I flew in on Qantas just for this episode.
That is a little taste, a nugget, an Easter egg, Father Malone. That's fantastic. This particular episode that he is obliquely referencing is called Come As You Aren't. This is episode 5. This was written by Glenn Charles and Les Charles and directed by Jimmy Burrows. And this is quite the rebound from the previous episode, as we'll get into in a minute. And a reminder that we are going in broadcast order, not filming order. This one, I'm happy to say, this is the first to focus exclusively on Elaine Nardo, which I'm fairly certain you're happy about, as well as I was, Father Malone.
Well, I love Elaine Nardo. She's my favorite. Also, Marilu Henner. Can't go wrong there. You know, I'm just a sucker for a redheaded girl with light eyes. I think you are too, HP.
Yes, she's fantastic. I mean,
Can I be a total pig and just say this episode, it was hard to concentrate for a large swath of it?
she's gorgeous. There's no getting around it. Elaine Nardo and the actress Marilu Henner, she's fabulous. She's beautiful. She's funny. She's got acting chops for days.
I'm not reducing Marilu Henner, by the way, to anything other than a fucking awesome performer, a fantastic actress, and also very sexy. There.
and we can't forget that she has photographic memory, because she'll tell you about it. You talk to her, and that's probably comes out within the first 15 minutes. I've seen many shows on her.
Don't up on Marilu Henner in her interview style. How dare you?
So, as I said, this is an Elaine centered episode, which I thought was fantastic. But I gotta say, at the beginning of the episode, I was kind of siding with the obnoxious passenger that she picked up. I'll go into this. So it's just by way of summarizing the episode. At the beginning, it's raining cats and dogs in New York. It's nighttime.
Oh, it's raining in a horrible process shot. They have this processed rain shot with a spotlight, this auburn spotlight. It's only on the left side lighting the rain that they slap onto every exterior shot to let us know that it's raining out. People walking down the street, spotlight on the left, rain. Cabbie going down the street, spotlight on the left, right. It's very distracting.
Come to think of it, it begs the question, like, I'm thinking back through all the episodes, do we see the cabbies ever driving in the light of day? Because these
We
are
did.
the night shift cabbies, right? I guess that makes sense. But how often do you see them driving in the daytime?
I can't well, I don't think we've seen one yet, but I know we're going to.
No, but you didn't see. You saw an exterior shot of like a helicopter tracking shot.
We haven't seen like a rear projection or a blue screen.
That's what I'm saying. Like them, because that's we may have seen shots of like somebody hailing a cab, like a generic B-roll, and they drive up. But that process shot where they're in the driver's seat, no windshield, and there's a passenger in the back. That never happens during the day.
Well, no, we certainly haven't seen one yet, no. But we're talking really about Nardo's first customer while she's waiting outside the fucking gallery that she works at, annoyingly, as a receptionist. She's done her first window, right? She's done her first window display. She's so proud of it. And then someone gets in her cab and she becomes the most annoying human being on the planet.
Yeah. But she's sort of gazing, with this expression on her face of wonderment at the art display that she's made for the art gallery. And the guy gets in, it's pouring out. The guy just wants to get where he's going, so he says, "Can we go to the Met?" And she says, "Oh, it's good that you came here on a rainy night because I'm looking at this art gallery window because I work in this art." And he basically he's very polite. He just says, "You know what? I'm really not in the mood for talking. Can we just go to the Met? I just want to go to the Met." And then she continues to yammer because I guess she feels like she has to explain herself.
Well, I wasn't really going on or anything, but here I'm going to continue to go on, right? And I agree with you already, HP. We're on this guy's side. Like we just want to get where we're going sometimes. We would rather not engage in conversation. But then his reaction to yammering, no matter how much yammering is going on, is out of hand.
Who, the guy in the car?
Yes.
So he says, "Look, I don't know how better I can say it to you. I don't want to talk. I just want to go to the Met." And she says, "Oh, okay, now you charmed me into it." Makes this backhand comment. Now they're driving.
He fucking screams at her. How many times? But basically, like, shut up, you fucking idiot, and drive. And she's like, okay, and does it. I don't care how annoying I'm being. If somebody shouted in that tone with me in my car, I don't think I would drive them 2 feet. I don't think I'd take my car out of park. But anyway, it has to happen because we need a payoff in the third act. But we continue.
We're going to have to agree to disagree.
Watch that scene again, and it's insanity.
I'll rewatch it, but again, it's pouring out. This guy's got a meeting he has to get to. Maybe he's late. He's just like, "Look, I don't know what else I have to tell you."
Get out of the cab, then, prick.
Well, she should have done that.
Or he should have said, I don't have time for this. I don't need to listen to you. I'm going to get another cab. No, he doesn't do that. He instead chooses to scream at her to just do his bidding and shut the fuck up. Well, guess what, pal? This is New York, my friend. No, then the problem is she just driving him to the Met, doing as best she can. And then he's like, I think you're trying to screw me. You're taking me the long way to like jack up the price. And she's like, no, I'm not. This guy's a dickhead. William Bogart is the actor. William Bogart, everybody, who's great. He plays a fantastic prick. You might remember him from Small Wonder. WarGames, man. He's fucking Broderick's teacher in WarGames, the asexual sex guy.
He's not. It's Matthew Broderick's dad. It's not a teacher. He's the dad. Remember, the thing that I always remember is he goes, "This corn is raw." Remember, the mother gives him the corn, and he's like, "Oh, I can't wait." And he bites it, and he's disgusted. That's William Bogart. It's fantastic. Right. He's been in that. He's been in everything from Beretta to the Wonder Years. He's fantastic. But he's best known as Mr. Lightman in WarGame. He's another classic. That guy.
Starsky and Hutch. Remember Fire Sale? Remember Fire Sale? That big old comedy troupe extravaganza in '77. He's in that.
Fire Sale? No.
Oh my God, we're going to do a whole special episode on Fire Sale.
I would love to. So, but he's this, this jerk in the cab who is being abusive towards Elaine. He wants to just get to where he's going. And as Father Malone just started to say, he notices that he's going a different way, and he believes that Elaine is trying to jack up the fare by going the long way. And she's nice. She says, "Look, it's shorter this way because I think she says there's traffic or something." And the guy just isn't having it. He just says, "You know what? No, this isn't my first trip to New York. Thank you, no." And then they get to where they're going, and she says, "Well, that'll be
No,
218."
no, no, no. Oh no. You've skipped the problematic middle part of this fucking sequence where she pulls over and basically says, "Get out of the cab." And he says, "No, legally you have to take me to my destination." And she just starts yelling rape. And his counter, his riposte, if you will, well, I'm the head of the Gay Liberation Front. No one will believe your rape charge, your casual rape charge in this comedy.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad.
And then on a basically a $3 fare, he gives her $1 and leaves. Then he leaves without the briefcase,
Yeah.
and she doesn't keep the briefcase. She just dangles it a little and makes him run for it.
It's pouring out.
Is it, or is there just a layer of amber lit to the side rain on the very, very dry looking B-roll of taxi shots in New York City?
So we're led to believe it's pouring. So she makes him run for the briefcase, and then she throws it out the window, and that's that. Whatever. She had a bad night, and she gets to the garage and she confides. She's kind of shrugging off or trying to shake off this awful episode. And
Do you think you had it bad? I had a koala throw up in my cab.
that's
That
Wheeler.
that sequence, that whole turn of events you had tonight, where some guy was screaming in your face and then accusing you of theft, and then it could have even gotten physical, and then you accuse him of rape for some weird reason. All of that pales in comparison to the fact that a koala threw up in the back seat of my cab. You should be ashamed of yourself, Nardo.
Bobby being the dramatic one in the garage. He's the hammy actor. That's maybe not out of character for him to believe that he's got it worse. But now we're back to the we're back to the art gallery discussion, because she confides in Alex that someone was complimenting her on her awesome display, the one that she got into the fight over. And she basically says, "Well, I took it too far, and I invited all of these, people connected to the gallery to come to my house for a dinner party." And I don't, she's very insecure about the whole thing, and she wants his help. She wants him to go to the party to give her moral support. But the catch is, she doesn't want them to know that she's a cab driver. So she forbids Alex, who we all know is Mr. Reality, Mr. Pragmatism. He can't disclose that he's a cab.
An honest man in a dishonest world. He goes from house to house in his cab with a lantern held high, looking for an honest man in New York City.
So, as you'd expect, Alex doesn't take this too well, and by now the rest of the cabbies know that they hear about this party, but Elaine hasn't invited them because she's, I think Danza or Banta says, "Yeah, it's because she's ashamed of us."
Obviously, look at you. Look at all of you. Look at yourselves. Do you think you can mix and mingle with the people I'm talking about? Banta? Come on, Bobby, Bobby, you at least get it.
Somehow she relents and says, "Well, you guys can come, but under the condition that nobody says that they're cab drivers or whatever." And then so fine, whatever. Alex gets there way before everybody because Elaine told him the wrong time, so he wouldn't. So he'd be the first person there, so that no one else would have to be awkwardly the first person to the party. So she cleverly told Alex to be there at a certain time. Alex is still waffling about this whole thing about not talking about that he's a cabbie. So everybody shows up, the party's going well, and Alex is put into a conversation where he's talking with a guy. Actually, he's another wonderful guest star on this show. He's talking to an art writer played by a guy named Clyde Kusatsu. Clyde Kusatsu is somebody that I think we've all seen. He's another veteran character actor. He's been on like MASH, Hunter, all these different shows. But I remember him best as He was the guy in the movie Volunteers that brainwashes Tom Tuttle from Tacoma, Washington.
Oh my God, he's so good in that episode. He's great here too. He's so interesting. Everyone at that party, I wrote down in my notes here, I want a spin-off series following this crowd of people. That one dude with the pipe
With the
and the
pipe.
turtleneck and the medallion. Holy Lord. Here's his backstory. Why wasn't there an entire episode just him driving in a cab one night, like someone ferrying that fellow around? Each one of the cab drivers.
The irony kind of is once the party begins, the focus isn't really on Nardo at all. The focus is on Rieger and him trying to spin this lie because he claims that his occupation is that he puts out oil rig fires. There's like this gorgeous blonde that is all of a sudden very interested in him because she thinks he's got this high risk job. There's the guy with the pipe. The guy with the pipe starts to light the pipe with a match. And in mid sentence, Rieger kind of like licks his fingers and puts out the match. And he goes, "Oh, sorry, reflex." It's awesome. People are interested in him. He's comfortable in his new lie. So it's great. He's having fun at the party. In the meantime, the rest of the cabbies have all like they know that this is not their kind of party, so they leave. But Latka is the only one to leave with a date. He leaves with sort of this mousy looking woman. Her name is, I hope I'm pronouncing this right, is Treva Silverman. She was a scriptwriter for the Mary Tyler Moore Show, for which she won 2 Emmys.
Uncredited rewrite on Romancing the Stone.
Treva Silverman?
Yeah.
Interesting. Everything's going great, but at the door, who comes in late to the party?
Oh my God. Third act payoff, baby. Here we go.
It's the dad from WarGames. He comes in. It's the guy from the cab. So he comes in. The elderly owner of the gallery introduces Elaine to this guy and says, "Oh, I'd like you to meet James Broderick is his name. Elaine, I'd like you to meet James Broderick. He's whatever." And Elaine kind of like she says like, "Oh, I think we've met." And the guy says, "We've met? What do you mean?" And it's clear that he either doesn't know who she is or is choosing not to admit that this is the cabbie that he had a fight with. But it's played to convey that he doesn't recognize her. So Elaine kind of plays it off and then goes over to Alex and says, "Oh my God, that guy from my cab is here." And she's freaking out and she goes, "Oh, but you know what? It's okay. He didn't recognize me." And then like the flip of a switch, she says, "Well, wait." Now she gets offended. Instead of being relieved that she's been, not recognized, now she's offended that he didn't recognize her. It's great. Like the way it's the same exact line played 2 different ways right in a row. And now she's upset because she thinks like she says, like, we really had a real fight. And he looked me in the eye.
It meant nothing.
And then nothing, right?
It's so much worse than she had initially thought it was. She was absolutely zero on his radar. He looked her in the face then, and he looked in her face now, and had no recognition at all. This thing happened like the day before.
Yeah.
It's a good script. The Charles Brothers.
This is everything that the previous episode wasn't. It's smartly plotted. It's funny. It involves a lot more of the cast. It's fabulous. So she goes to give the guy a piece of her mind, but now Alex is upset because Alex has been, he's batting 1,000 with this gorgeous blonde that he's telling this story about him being a firefighter at an oil rig. So he tells her not to, but she ignores him and admits to this guy and to the rest of the party at large, "I'm the cab driver. I'm a cab driver. I support my 2 kids. I'm a single mother, da da da." And she basically kind of confronts James Broderick. And then at that point, I think we go to commercial.
We know we've gotten a commercial because it's this weird hard cut, like in the same scene, like almost from line to line.
We cut back, and Elaine and Alex are in the apartment. They're cleaning up. Everybody else is gone. They're cleaning up from the party. But Alex is sulking about, she basically ruined his night by admitting to everybody. This is the thing that she wanted him to do, which is he wanted to originally not lie to people and admit that he was a cab driver, but once he got the attention of this woman, all bets are off for Rieger. So but he's sulking. He's no fun. He's kind of complaining and grousing to Elaine, and she's doing her best to try to console him or whatever. And she even admits like that it actually worked out better for her because the guy, the James Broderick ended up apologizing and gave her a tip. And everybody at work now at the art gallery says like they admire her because she's so brave and being a cab driver. But this is cold comfort to Rieger. So he's going to leave. And for me, a big part of why I love it is because it's showcasing that Nardo Rieger relationship, right? Because they end up being essentially close friends or best friends and even closer in at least one particular episode we'll talk about. So I loved that they're showing their burgeoning friendship, So he's finally going to leave. And she admits to him, look, I think we're best friends. And I would hate it to think you were going to leave angry. And it softens him up just enough. And he says, all right. And they hug and it's a sweet moment and they leave. So let's talk a little bit about what we loved about this show, about this particular episode.
Here's another bonus in this episode visually for me. She has like this 3-foot wicker crow just tucked into the corner of the room. It serves no function. It's all form, but what a form.
That's another Easter egg that I'll have to check out.
Also, let me get this. I was a pig then. I'm going to be a pig now, kind of. But just to get it out of the way, the spread, as it were, laid out for her party includes these 2 chafing dishes. They are beautiful chafing dishes. I would be proud to own one and display it on any occasion. But they only kind of reinforced this nipple display that's going on amongst all of the women in this episode. It's just a visual sign and signifier, perhaps, of what this episode might be for you as a spectator. That's all. I just needed to say it. Now we can continue because it is a fantastic episode.
So I just want to get this straight. So you're saying that the visual of chafing dishes is somehow like subliminally giving
It's either meant to distract us from the fact that there's going to be a lot of nipples on display in this romantic comedy on network television in 1979, one of 3 channels, or it's meant to say, check it out, y'all.
So it felt like a classic comedically focused episode of Taxi. I know you've gotten on them in the past for being too sentimental about the struggles, the feudal struggles, and all of that. This was not. I mean, this was aspirational in a sense that it's Elaine trying to impress the gallery owner and the staff there or what have you. But to me, it never really felt like, well, this is my one ticket out there. One of those kinds of episodes where it's make or break, and we know it's going to be break. This was lower stakes in that sense, and it was nice that she put on a good party apparently, and everything worked out with her and the James Broderick. So that's part of what I loved about it. What are your thoughts, Father Malone?
I hate the aspirational episodes, except this way, doing it this way. Because most aspirational episodes, it's basically watching a character get the goal in sight, and they're going to leave everything troubling them behind, and then it's snatched away from them. Here, Elaine Nardo, when faced with this decision, is given the break. This guy doesn't know who she is, so she could just take the win and move up, and instead decides, no, I'm going to. That means less to me than dealing with this human being who is a complete and utter prick. And I love that moment that she goes for that.
Yeah,
I can't say enough about the Charles brothers. The Henderson, Nevada's own Charles brothers. Henderson is part of Las Vegas, my hometown. I said it at the top sort of jokingly, but I want to reiterate it here rather seriously. This episode feels like me, not only where this series should be going and eventually does, but they're pointing to way to how a series can be perfected eventually with Cheers. And I can prove it because in this episode, the character of John, human sinkhole of charisma Randall Carver, his character works here. He functions in and is funny. And you know why? Because these are the guys who are going to write Woody.
I could not agree more. It's interesting though. I didn't think of it where this is placed in the history of the Burroughs, Glenn and Les Charles sort of era. But yeah, you're right. This does feel like you could, with a few minor alterations, you could make this a Cheers episode, right?
Yes,
Just
100% you could have.
Just replace Tony and Bobby with Cliff and Norm, right? Maybe they have to go to I don't know, one of Diane's stuffy parties or something for her college or something, or Frasier, and they have I could see that working. It's just great. It's great writing, great laughs, great performances, as we talked about. In terms of the writing, though, beyond the funny, which is great in this, I alluded to this earlier, which is one of the things I love best about this is the interplay between Alex and Elaine. I think it's wonderful because it really does a wonderful job of kind of, and you have no way of knowing this as you're watching the shows for the first time, but really they're foregrounding hers and Alex's relationship as it goes forward. And I love some of the subtle touches of how she, like I said, she's protesting because she thinks that they're best friends and she doesn't want him to go away mad. It felt genuine, it felt authentic because he's not a conventionally handsome individual, Judd Hirsch, but she loves him, and she's she goes to him for help, for advice, and for support.
She fucked him over hard while admitting to this crowd that she is a cab driver. She pointed to Alex and said he is too, after he had broken his moral code of not lying about his profession. He did this for Elaine. He lied for her, and her reaction was to call him out on it. And in the end, Elaine receives accolades and potential promotion within that company. She actually achieves her goal in an aspirational episode, and the detritus is Alex Rieger and the potential with this blonde.
It's also great to see. I mean, they don't have a lot to do, to be honest. The rest of the cabbies don't have a ton to do in this particular episode, but it is nice to see them. And this is kind of where the Cheers comparison comes in. It's nice to see them supporting each other. Like, even though they know they're going to have a terrible time, the cabbies still go, they make an appearance at the party.
And that sequence is very funny. There's this like mingle train going on of Banta and Wheeler and Sinkhole of Charisma, where they're just chugging around the party to the different stations, and they're making their rounds so they can leave. It's very funny, and it's very well shot. During the same scene, the phrase "macho gourmet" is spoken.
Did you take that down as a note, macho gourmet?
I've down, and I've discovered that I've now written it a few times. So obviously, this phrase is now going to be bouncing around in my head. So thank you, Taxi.
The stuff with Alex as he's holding court with these other weird characters from the art world is a wonderful scene, because he gets he's inventing lie upon lie upon lie, and they're just eating it up. But it's such a weird group. Like I said, there's the guy with the pipe and the turtleneck, who's fantastic, and there's this, like I said, there's this gorgeous blonde that comes in, and then there's the art writer.
There's another great supporting cast joke, because Latka shows up in his dirty coveralls, and they're like, "No, you got to go put on good clothes," and he comes back with sparkling white coveralls. It's a stupid joke, but it works. And also, Latka has a patch on those white coveralls. You see what's on there? This
No.
crazy red, white, and blue explosion on one side, and what I think is a moon on the other. I don't know what it was. Is it his homeland's flag? But that joke worked, and I'm left intrigued with what he was actually wearing. And I also wonder why no one said, just take the coverall off and take this tie and put it on, and you'll be fine.
I always want there to be more with Latka and Louis. Louis's not really in this much at all. I think he has a few wisecracks when they're talking about the party and all of the Cretans in the garage, but beyond that, he's not. If this episode was going to be on season 3, then you might have had another subplot of Louis trying to crash the party because he doesn't want to be upstaged by the cabbies, and then he, causes a whole thing. I believe he would have featured more in a scene.
Here's how good this script is. In the previous episode, we get Louis, who delivers a fucking killer line that like justifies the entire episode, and we're left thinking, boy, we would like more of Louis in this episode. Here, Louis basically not in it at all, and I don't miss him because they figured out a way to make all of the supporting characters actually work. I'm overpraising maybe, but it's nice to see when things function as they should.
Yeah, that's an excellent point, because you don't need that bench player like Louis to come in and bat cleanup, because everybody else is really featured well. It's performed well. It's written well. So you don't really need them. In terms of things that I thought were not so good, and again, there's not much to criticize here. It's a pretty solid show. The cabbies, even though that when they're in it, they're great, they don't really feature all that much. And there's, sometimes in similar scenarios, you might have had something more egregious as the cabbies are leaving. Maybe they make a scene. Maybe, I don't know. There's not, beyond this like sort of train of them like walking around the room, there's not really much of a payoff. They show up, they look uncomfortable, and they leave. Right. And that's fine. It works, but
I didn't miss them at all because that freak show of a party was going on, of all of these cool characters.
So yeah, and we talked about this already, but Louis is not in it that much. But you reckon it's more of a plus because that means everybody else is balanced enough so that you don't need a Louis to come in and spark something.
Hell yeah! In a romantic comedy where the two characters would be the romantic leads are actually playing off of each other instead of into each other, like as friends, as best friends. And oh man, I would never forgive her. I came to your party to support you, and I lied for you. And then you cockblocked me with this gorgeous woman who's way out of my league. God damn it, Nardo. Her reaction should have been, I'm going to get further into the art world, and there'll be even more beautiful women that you can lie to.
But here's the thing. You put yourself in Rieger's shoes, okay? You probably already have a crush on your coworker, Elaine. You haven't admitted it to yourself, but maybe you already have a crush. And then because when she asks him to forgive her, she doesn't just ask it. She's hugging him in that moment, right? She's basically holding his head in her hands and saying, "Please, I'm sorry." Don't tell me you wouldn't forgive her in that moment. In that moment, physically with Elaine Nardo. Come on.
No, I would not.
You wouldn't. Her. You would not forgive her.
I'm just saying, if I had a friend who did that to me, like, yes, as beautiful as she might be, and if I had a crush on her or whatever, like, there would be part of me forever would think, I remember when you did that? Why did you do that?
Sure, but you would eventually come around.
Actually, you know what? No, because I've been in a scenario like that where there was a girl who was out of my league and somebody sort of swooped in at the last second, and I'm never going to forgive them. And I'm in touch with them. They don't know about the grudge, but it's there. So I'm speaking as Rieger here.
Let's talk about yellow lights.
What does a yellow light mean?
Reminder, we score from 1 to 5 yellow lights. and 1 being terrible, and 5 being this is the quintessential Taxi episode. Let's start with you, Father Malone. How many yellow lights do you give this episode, and why?
Give it a 4, solid 4. Can't give it a 5 because Reverend Jim Ignatowski isn't in the series. That's the only thing keeping it from it. It's good enough that it's a great episode, even though Jim isn't here.
And I agree with you 100%. I give this 4 yellow lights as well, because although this may not be like if aliens came down to Earth and asked, what is the quintessential Taxi episode? This wouldn't be my top choice, but I have to admit it has a lot of the elements that go into making a great Taxi episode. I think in your case, I think you're giving it bonus points because you don't like when it goes into the more maudlin, these Pyrrhic victories that they have that don't amount to much.
I don't like when things are overwritten. There's ways to do this comedy on stage, and and make it like this episode. Like it's just because the most of the writers on this show have been doing it for many years, and I'm not knocking them because they're writing some of the best stuff as well, and we're going to see more of it. It's just in comparison, maybe to the episode the previous episode, like this one just sings, and it's the way it ought to be. To quote Cyrus.
Somehow, I was watching this in preparation for this for recording this podcast, and I can't say this was one that stuck out in my mind as being one of my favorite Taxi episodes, but I was very pleasantly surprised as I was sort of watching it with a different perspective today. And I have to say, I enjoyed it a lot more than I recall enjoying it, because it's got a lot of the elements that I love about Taxi, and it also lays the groundwork for Elaine and Alex's relationship, as I said before, which is going to be a cornerstone of good Taxi episodes, I think.
And it gave me the name of my autobiography, Father Malone, Macho Gourmet. You can get that on Amazon as a download. Audible. Also, I think Randall Flagg appeared in the episode in that party. There's a man all in denim by the door, a tousled haired, dark-looking man. So this might also exist. The Taxi universe might coexist in the Stephen King universe. It might just be happening in my mind.
With that, I think that's going to do it for another great episode of Night, Mr. Walters, a Taxi podcast. Father Malone, where can the listeners find you when you're not in the garage, as it were?
If you're looking for me visually, I think go to fathermalone.com. Even if you're looking for me auditorially, you can go to fathermalone.com, because that'll bring you to weirdingwaymedia.com, which is where all of the podcasts are located, like Dark Destinations and Chronicles from the Crypt and Dreams for Sale and Midnight Viewing and Astounding Tales of the Public Domain. Oh my God, I need a defibrillator.
Fantastic. And I like Father Malone. I'm on Weirding Way Media as well. Wolf and Raisin, the Banachek podcast. A little something called Noise Junkies. I'm on there. Obviously, this fine show. And I've also been known to make appearances musically and otherwise in some of Father Malone's other podcasts, like Dark Destinations. For myself and for Father Malone, thank you so much for listening. And be sure to tune in for the next episode. Thank you so much.
Night, Mr. Walters.
Do you love movies? So do I. What's up, y'all? It's KB, and I love movies. Inviting you to listen to The Conversation, a film podcast where passion meets perspective and opinion. From the old school to the new, I invite a guest on to discuss the movies that thrill us, challenge us, break our hearts, or even blow our minds. There's always new episodes dropping wherever you get your podcasts. So join the conversation. We don't just watch movies. We love talking about them too. The Conversation with KB Loves Movies, a part of Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.